Good day doodlers, welcome to Draw Cartoons. We've got another Pokemon tutorial today. This time we're going to learn how to draw the ever dependable fire type Pokemon Growlithe. Make sure you watch the whole video as you might learn a cool drawing trick or two as you go. As always, you'll need a pencil, paper, an eraser, and of course a Sharpie. Let's go! Let's get started. But first, if you want to learn to draw the fast and easy way, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that bell. Let's begin. So you want to kick your drawing off with a very basic circle. You're going to place that pretty much in the middle of your page, maybe a little bit higher than the middle actually, and that's going to be the head of our Growlithe. Growlithe? Is it Growlithe or Growlithe? I think it's Growlithe, but Growlithe is easier to say, so I'm just going to say it like that. So once you've got your circle in place, you can carry on from here, go straight down into a curve that bezels out just a little bit, and then comes down into a foot that just kind of, see a little bit of curve at the end? Try and get that little curve there for where the claw is going to poke out. We're going to draw that later, don't draw it in just yet. For now we're just building in the basic shapes of our Growlithe. So follow it along in a kind of flat shape until you get to almost as far as the end of the head. So if I just draw a straight line up here, we're nearly to the end of the head, but not quite. So the rest of that distance is going to get covered as we go up, and we're just going to curve a line up towards the middle of the body to about here, and that is going to be almost level with the end of the head. If I just kind of draw a line here, it's a bit angled that, but you can see we're almost at the end of the head. So that's kind of the proportion that you're after here. And just as I carry on, by the way, if I go too fast at any point, don't be afraid to pause the video, slow it down, but I'm used to drawing very quickly, so I apologize if I go too fast. So now that you've got to here, we're going to start again here, and we're going to bring a line down from the, more or less that part of the circle, and then curve it over the back, a line that just kind of bends around in this sort of shape here, and then we'll stop as we curve just over where the back foot is going to be just there. So if you notice, that's not quite as far down as the front paws go, it's just a little bit higher. We need to leave a little bit of room for the back paw, which is just a small blob. It's kind of wider than it is tall, and I'm just going to curve that in there for where the front of the leg's going to go. And the front of the leg, carrying on from here, is just a curve that goes up towards, goes very, very near what is essentially Growlithe's armpit, I guess. It goes very, very close and then just kind of swings away like that. So do your best to get this kind of shape here, and you can just kind of close it off with a bit of belly at the bottom. And once you've drawn this kind of shape here, once you've built that as well as you can, the rest of it's pretty much just detail. So we'll start with the head, because I think the head is actually probably the hardest part of this drawing. I think it's best to start with the ear because it's so prominent on this character. So start with a line at the very, very top right of this circle and curve it up and over as soon as you get out of the circle, and bend it around to the tip of the ear. The tip of the ear kind of comes out at a fairly sharp angle like this. Once you get to there, just bring it round to about the center of the head, just a little bit lower than the center of the head. If that's the center, you want to kind of get the bottom of the ear there. So once you've done that, you want to just draw that shape again on the inside, just for the inner ear, and essentially what's the earlobes, I guess. So there we go, we've got one ear drawn in already, and from there I think it's best to go straight for drawing the hair. So you can draw a line that comes out from behind the ear like this. It just kind of glides up over the head and gets to more or less the top left region of the head. Once you get to there, just finish it off with a small curve and then come out of the head like this. Once you get there, you can kind of draw this how you want really, because it is hair, it's very flexible in its shape, but the way that it's drawn in the official artwork is it just kind of flicks up like this and produces a series of spikes, and the spikes kind of alternate from big to little, big to little, big to little, and every now and again you'll get two smaller spikes of hair next to each other. So there you go, there's Growlithe's funky hairdo. So from there, the rest of it, we can just kind of build from this shape that we've drawn. So let's draw in Growlithe's nose, which sits pretty much at the leftmost part of our circle, and try and get this shape kind of going on here, where it's almost like a triangle with very, very soft corners, very soft edges, and it's facing down like that. So that just kind of sits on the very left side of the circle. And once you've drawn that, we can draw in the rest of his face using the nose as a kind of a reference point for that. So if we start here, we can draw a line that just kind of carries on from the top of the nose, curves across heading towards the ear, but doesn't quite get to the ear. Before you get to the ear, you want to curve it down underneath the ear, and then just kind of bring it down into the neck a tiny bit and just leave it there. That's as far as you need to take that. So we can draw the rest of the face on this side. So we'll start from this side of the nose. We'll draw a small curve that just kind of comes out a little bit, but then goes back, and it just touches the very, very end of the circle there. If you can see that, just kind of lightly touches there. So once you've done that, we can draw a line that just suddenly kind of curves up under the nose, and then down and back up into a very cocksure kind of smile, very kind of confident smile. Okay, very typical kind of expression for Growlithe. Whenever you see him in the anime, he always seems to be kind of pulling that kind of face. So we'll just finish by drawing a small chin here, and we'll tuck it in to where the neck is. Now we've got a great reference point for drawing the eye. I didn't draw the eye straight away because the eye sits on this line here, so we needed to draw that line first. So now that that line is in place, we can draw a line here before the end of the muzzle kind of begins to curve down. It curves up just a little bit, and it gets cut off by a big angled line for the brow, kind of in that angle. It's kind of pointing towards the nose, and then a line on the inside of this eye just to kind of close that off there. Now if you really want, you can draw the pupil in the middle so it looks like he's looking at us. You can draw it on this side so it looks like he's looking over here, but on the official artwork, which is what I'm going to follow, the eye is pointing this way, so I'm going to draw a line more or less in the middle of the eye. Now to add a bit more detail, I'm going to add a small circle here in the top left corner of that pupil to show some light kind of bouncing off the eye. And then a small C shape, or rather U shape rather, it's more like a C on its side at the very bottom of that eye, like in the official artwork, just to kind of help show the colour of the eye when I colour that in. That's not a necessary step, but I think it does make the eye look better. Now finally, he's missing one more ear on this side, so we can just add that in now. Now that you've drawn in this part of the face, we can just kind of draw a line that comes out, curves up and over, and then sits on the top left side of the circle we drew. And then we'll just head this off like this, mimicking the shape that we've drawn, but we're just kind of drawing it again inside. And there we go, the head of Growlithe in our sketch is done at this point. So we can move on to the rest of the body. I do think that was the hardest part, so if you got this far, well done. The rest of it is pretty much just detail. So from there, where the circle meets the very, very bottom of this little line here that kind of juts out, we can start drawing the fur on his chest. Now it's very, very fluffy, it's very thick, and you can have quite a bit of fun with this, because with it being fur or hair, it kind of changes shape very, very quickly, because, you know, all it takes is a small ruffle of wind to kind of go through it, and that's it. The hair looks different from snapshot to snapshot. So all I'm doing here is I'm just drawing a series of spikes that alternate in size, and I'm not going to go any further than the midpoint between this line and this line. So if I kind of draw a dotted line for you, that's pretty much the middle between those lines there. That's because this kind of fluff here, this goes over this leg, but we don't see it go over this leg. So I'm going to stop there, just going to get rid of all these guidelines that I've drawn. So don't go any further than there. Once you do get there, we want to draw in this near leg. So to do that, we're going to start in the middle here, and we're going to draw a line that just goes at a very, very slight angle, and it goes up to about here. It's pretty much level with this shoulder here, pretty much. Not quite there, it's very, very close. So now we can just make sure those lines down there meet up, so the fur looks like it's tucked in underneath that arm, or leg rather, not really arms on these, are they? Four-legged animal. So from here we'll draw some more spikes. So again, you can have a bit of fun with this. You can be really, really kind of creative, draw them in pretty much any arrangement that you like, but if you want to follow the official artwork, it's pretty much just a pattern of a long spike, short spike, long spike, short spike, like that. And make it nice and fluffy up near the neck, just so it gives it all a bit more shape. We don't want our character looking too flat. So once you've done that, we can add some claws to these front paws. So all that is a triangle, a triangular shape rather, just kind of pointing out from there in that kind of angle there. And we've got another one to draw just here, so I'll add that in now. Just kind of poking out. Very, very sharp, but you know, it is a Pokemon and it's very good at fighting, so blunt claws wouldn't really do it too many favors in combat. So a couple more kind of spiky claws sticking out there, pointing forward, They don't look like real dog paws. Dog paws really don't look like this at all, but they're Pokemon, so, you know, they use their imagination there, I guess. So once we've drawn those in, we'll draw in the tail. Now the tail, overall it's kind of a shape that just kind of bumps out like this, but there is a bit more of that spiky business going on, so I'm going to show you how to do that now. So start here, just at the top of the back, and curve a line up and over until you get to about here. So not crazy far, not too much further than the back of our character here, and then you can just start adding in those spikes like we did before. So you can do big little like they do in the official artwork, and stop doing that when you get to about here, because we need to head this off with the base of the tail. So to do that, we're going to start at the back leg, and we're going to draw a line that curls. It just kind of curves up and swings up like that towards the top of the tail and ends there. And the tail is drawn, so you don't have to worry about that bit anymore. And the last features to add, we've got to add some toes. So just a couple of small curves like this. Try and get that curve, don't draw a straight line like that because it will make the foot look really flat. But if you draw these curves, it gives the foot a kind of direction that it's pointing in and just makes the toes look a bit more believable. So now we've got these stripes of our character to add in here. We've got two V-shaped stripes on the forelegs, so to draw that I'm going to start here. I'm going to draw down at an angle towards the middle of the leg, but then I'm going to come up like this, and before I reach the end I'm just going to draw a zigzag, very much like the white fluff that he's got around his body here. It's a little bit kind of the same style. And then just kind of finish off that chevron shape, that kind of arrow shape. So it's like an arrow pointing down towards the very bottom of his foot. So I'm going to do that again here. And this one, the perspective's a little bit to the side, so we're only going to draw a little bit of that chevron on the right and a little bit on the left because it kind of gets tucked in underneath that fur he's got going on his chest. So that one's a lot easier to draw than this one. We don't have to worry about the zigzags. But speaking of the zigzags, we haven't completely escaped them. There's a few on his back and a few on his back leg as well. So we'll just draw those in now. Starting at the back leg, we're going to draw a line that curves kind of around the leg and results in this kind of zigzag pattern again before curving back around the back of the leg. It kind of looks like tape when you don't use a pair of scissors, you just kind of rip it off and it has that kind of zigzaggy texture. Maybe that's a good way of looking at it if you're struggling to get the curve right for the stripes. Try and picture it as tape that's just kind of wrapping loosely over its body. So again, a couple more stripes on the back. We're almost done. That zigzag pattern on the end. And then another one here. This one might be a little bit obscured by the fluff that you've drawn on his chest, but that's fine. So is mine. And there we go, your sketch of Growlithe. Oh, no, I've forgotten one detail. We're missing a small line here right underneath the chest. And all it is a small line that just kind of goes down here at an angle and just shows you the back of that front leg there. So very subtle detail. Almost missed that one, but I caught it just in time. So at this point, I do think our sketch is done. So get your Sharpie. If you want to go over it with a Sharpie, go right ahead. I'm going to do that myself. I'm going to color it in, and you'll end up with your very own awesome drawing of the Generation 1 Fire-type dog, Growlithe. Go carefully over your sketch with your Sharpie. This is a great time to check for any last mistakes in the sketch as you go, and fix them before you finish your drawing. And there you go, you did it! You've drawn Growlithe. Do you want to give your Growlithe a name? By the way, make sure you head over to my Discord channel. You can share your artwork and anything else you like, anytime you like. Hit the link in the description below to join and start sharing right away. Remember to like this video and subscribe for more tutorials. Until next time.